Hey everyone, it's Maddie.
And B, and today we're going to be bringing back an old feature of our channel, and that is books and baking.
Today we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies, but this also coincides with the very day we hit 7,000 subscribers.
Thank you so much for your continued support, and we can't wait to release all of the other videos that we have planned for the summer. In this Books and Baking, we're going to be chatting about YALC and our summer reading plans, as a lot has changed since we put up our summer TBR.
So we're going to go with two types of chocolate, plain and white chocolate, and this is both Milka because we got them when we were on holiday in Germany, and we got like 7 different varieties, so I'm really excited to see how it pans out, because every time we've tried to use white chocolate in the past, it's just gone horribly wrong.
Horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. If you start putting things in there and weighing out,
yeah,
I will grease them trays. So in the end we decided to halve the mixture because the last time we did this there were absolutely loads, and we only have like 200 grams of chocolate and this recipe asks for twice that, so it just makes sense to halve it. I forgot that the whole process of making things took a lot longer when you were trying to film
So
it.
so far I've managed to complete 2 of the books on my rainbow TBR, which were Under Rose-Tainted Skies and Sister's Fate, and I managed to read them both on our weekend readathon, and since then I've done absolutely no summer reading, which is kind of disappointing. But at the same time, like, I still do want to prioritise those books. I've got a real passion to want to read Victoria, but we recently got all the books for our 3rd year module about romance, and all of those books are huge, and there are like over 15 of them, so that's kind of putting a dampener on our summer reading plans so far.
So which books are you currently reading at the moment?
Well, Maddie and I are both reading Pride and Prejudice, which is one of our romance things, and it's really slow. I'm not really enjoying it, I have to admit. It's got me wanting to watch Pride and Prejudice, which is like the Bollywood version, although I don't think it's like strictly a Bollywood movie, I'm not entirely sure. It's taking a really long time, and I have to admit that it's put me to sleep like twice. It's just like, things move in a weird pace. Like, we got 50% through, and then Darcy was already like proclaiming love to Lizzie, and I was like, when did this happen? I mean, maybe
I had to wait 100 Lizzie Bennet Diaries episodes for that.
Quite. Like, maybe I'm just not like that aware of Pride and Prejudice as I thought I was, because I only knew like the Mr. Collins stuff and then the Wickham and Lydia stuff, so I don't know, the bit in the middle, it's like, what happened? Then I'm also reading The Power, which I started reading before it turned out that it had won the Bailey's Prize. Yeah, this is the winner of the Bailey's Prize for Women's Fiction, and it's just a bunch of female writers writing really cool things. And Maddie read, what was it, Stay With Me?
Yeah.
And I previously read First Love, which was the smallest of the selection. And I didn't really enjoy it, but The Power is really good so far. I'm only like 120 pages through, but I think it's deceptively short. I think it's like only 320 pages anyway, even though the paperback is like this thick, so I'm enjoying it. It's kind of culty, and I have a feeling it's going to escalate very, very quickly.
We swapped roles, so I can ask Maddie the exact same question. What are you currently reading at the moment?
So I'm currently reading Girls in Tears, which is the last book in that series. B has read all 4 books, and we bought them last summer, and it was a series that we kind of put aside as one we wanted to read all in one go. So I'm finally at the end, and it's really fun. I remember a lot of what goes on in all 4 books though, because I remember the TV show that was on between 2001 and 2005, and that was so long ago.
That's on much longer than I thought, actually. I thought it only had like 1 season, but...
Yeah, it had 2.
The Girls in Love series is a Jacqueline Wilson series, and it's
Yes.
kind of like a younger YA story. So if you're not from the UK, I don't know whether you would have heard about it, but I think we were too young to really appreciate it,
Yeah,
and now we're too old to really appreciate it.
The first book came out when we were born. The year we were born, Girls in Love was around, and it's still so cool that the things she's writing about are still like concerns of teenage
it's surprisingly
girls. That's what I've
relevant.
really liked about the series, like how much I've still managed to relate to it, or like teenage me has managed to relate to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of girls could still relate to it now.
And then I'm also currently reading The Golden Lily, which is the 2nd book in the Bloodline series, and it was an unfortunate incident where I'd started it and got 150 pages through before we went on holiday, which is now like 2 weeks ago, and I just haven't picked it up since, and we got The Fiery Heart and the Silvery something.
Silver Shadows.
Okay, we got those 2 out from the library because I thought I'd binge read the series, and that hasn't happened, and now those books have to go back to the library, so I'm really sad to say I'll probably put this series on hold, because I don't know if I want to read now another 4 books.
Yeah.
Because I'm already struggling so much to finish The Golden Lily.
Which books have you got left to read before YALC?
So many. I feel like I want to read so many that I don't actually own. It's kind of hard because
I hope to like buy some books when we're actually there and like binge read them in the afternoons. I guess my priorities are non-prep because I've now like gone as far as I want to go with Hollyborn. That's now 3 books I have to read.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's like specifically coming to mind. There are some other like UKYA things. I'm pretty sure Ink, which was my orange book for the Rainbow TBR written by Alice Broadway, I'm pretty sure she's going to be there, so I should probably prioritise reading that. I'm pretty sure Emily Barr's going to be there actually, the one memory.
Yeah, I think she is.
So I'm kind of glad that I've got that one done.
And it's slim, so it'll fit in the suitcase.
Yeah, maybe like Lorelei and Orabelle, reading those. I might read some more Kara Stainton as well, because Counting Stars has kind of been pulling me recently.
That's another one with a YouTube protagonist.
Yeah.
So that might be fun.
I really, really want to read some David Owen. The Fallen Children one sounds really, really cool, but I don't own that. I think it's almost easier for you to be like, oh, I need to read Rebel of the Sands. Like,
Yep, that was going to be my pick.
like your one.
I also want to read the Noah Can't Even book that we got.
Yeah, exactly. There are some like smaller ones that haven't really had any hype in the BookTube community.
I guess the one title I was referring to in particular is When Birds Fly Back.
Yes.
I so want to read that. Lauren James commented about it on her Twitter ages and ages and ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first looked into it, it only had the US cover, which is kind of nice. And it's like a girl on a beach with like a constellation pattern over the top. So I don't really know what it's about, but I want to say it's got like a religious tone. I don't know. This is everything in the bowl, and then we have to beat it together, all of that, with an electric mix until it's light and fluffy, so that will take a while. I was always afraid. I was always afraid of it because, you know, when I was younger, I was like, loud noises. But now it's just so much easier, So what's the first book that you can remember that you read this year?
That was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness.
And what's the last book you read?
How can I remember the first book I read and not the one I finished? Maybe The Unbound by Victoria Schwab? I don't know though. It's been quite a while since I finished a book, actually. So.
Maddie's going to do the second half. Okay, the first book you read this year was...
Murder, Most and Ladylike by Robin Stevens.
And the last book you read was...
The one I finished this morning, which was The Distance Between Us by Casey West, which
nice.
was one of the last Casey West books we had to read before we could do our review video.
Yeah, we can plan that later today, because I've got to gather my thoughts on the ones I read, like, 2 summers ago.
I'm really excited to read The Fill-In Boyfriend though. I'm going to like do the video and then read it because I would love to read it like without the pressure.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's what I've been most anticipating, but I have heard some smack talk about it recently, so I'm a little bit worried.
Really, have you?
Yeah, just I think that's people going into her books thinking they're not going to be cliche and then
Okay,
being surprised when they're like fan fiction plots, so
well.
that's not going to be me.
Sometimes you're in the mood for that.
As we've been reading them, we've been ranking them, so I'd say that The Distance Between Us, I liked it a bit better than On the Fence, but not by much. So what I can definitely say is that Casey West's contemporaries get better
as they go. Well, I think The Fill-In Boyfriend is the peak.
Yeah,
because I was surprisingly displeased with P.S. I Like You.
I'm really interested to see how Lucky in Love turns out, because that's another like girl wins the lottery, and we've just read Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith and weren't really impressed with how that was done, so I'm really interested to see that like 2 very similar books are going to be on the market at the same time.
Are we going to do like 2 batches, or are we just going to mix the chocolates and have...
I think we should mix the chocolates. Okay. Just because, as we've said, white chocolates never work well for us, so I think putting it on its own is just tempting fate. So what's our favourite video that you filmed this year? Because we've recently done the mid-year freakout tag, so it's time to assess our channel at this halfway point.
Juncture.
Yes.
I'd say I'm really, really pleased with our Geek Girl review, just because it meant a lot to me that we got to finish the series. Also, just having a chance to talk about it in one place felt really, really nice. So I'm really proud of that video, and also the Juno Dawson one, where we talk about like the 6 books that she had published at the time, even though Margot and Me was being released. I just think it's so sort of different for us to do dedicated review content, and it is fun. It's hard to do. I liked doing it anyway.
It definitely feels more in-depth and more like the reviews that we post on our blog.
But I just find filming review videos really hard, because it's like harder to articulate things. And it requires more planning. I'm also really, really pleased with the wrap-ups we've been putting out recently, because we've been doing this thing where we like write sentence sum-ups of all the books we read, so we're not fumbling when we start the video and end up talking for like 2 minutes just in terms of plot, because it just gives you more time to talk about your opinions if you know how to summarise something very quickly in a way that will instantly make people know I'm interested in reading that book or I'm not.
It's kind of tricky because it's like figuring out the elevator pitch for every book you read.
Yeah, exactly.
Maddie's going to do the white chocolate because that was always her favourite. Although I think you ate like too much one time and that sort of put you off for years.
Yeah, that definitely happened.
What about you? Favourite video of the year?
I feel like with our wrap-ups, just because they're our most viewed video of the month as well,
Yeah.
so I always have that in mind when we're filming them about like how many more people are potentially going to see it than just like a fun tag video or something like that. And I really value like any comment that we get on a wrap-up that says like I've added this book to my TBR, or like you were really honest about this, because then I just think it's job done. Like when someone posts that comment, I'm just like, yes, that's what I made this video for people to find books.
Looks like cheese.
It's so much softer. Milka is so much softer than dairy milk, yeah. Last year, I think Maddie will agree when I say at the end of 2016 we were really sort of struggling with the videos we were putting out. Like, we didn't have any ideas, and over the summer we've challenged ourselves to try and upload 3 videos a week. So if you have anything you would like to see us do in particular, please let us know. Sometimes you do get into that like autopiloting thing where you don't actually
be excited about the books that you're excited about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that just comes at the end of the year where you're so saturated with everything you've read. I feel like I sort of need something to change how I'm feeling about reading at the moment, because I feel like I've hit this huge slump which I did not want to happen at the beginning of the summer, which is one of the reasons why I said at the beginning of the video that our summer plans have changed.
Do you think it's because you've already hit your Goodreads goal?
Oh, like, gosh, maybe it is.
Because your Goodreads goal, like, we would always add 10 books to it last year, and I haven't really done that.
Yeah.
I let it just say, Maddie's completed. Maddie's not reading for the rest of the year.
Maybe that is it. Maybe I do need to change that, because I think I'm the kind of person that does want to strive to something, and have it say like 105% doesn't mean as much to me as 100% of a bigger goal. I don't know.
But it's always surprising, because when you talk to people that don't do BookTube about BookTube, they just assume that you're like making review content.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the least made content on this platform, which is crazy.
How do you describe, like, I mean, a lot of it, I guess, is just playing games with books and thinking about them in different situations. Over here, where our nicely greased trays are, and you put a tablespoon blob on each of these.
Like, is it meant to be more doughy?
I can add a bit more flour if you want.
What were some of our other resolutions? Like, the only one I can remember is when we were like, oh, I'm going to read all of Jane Austen. And
now I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I think it's a bad idea to force yourself to read classics in general. I think,
unless it's something that you really want to do.
If you're reading classics because you feel the obligation from your peers, from the community, that is not a reason to do it, because you won't enjoy yourself. You need to be in sort of the right mindset, I think. Maybe in Pride and Prejudice I'm not. Okay, look, what is that? What's happening? No, I'm sure they're going to turn out fine, because I can't really remember what it was like when we did it last. It wouldn't be a Maddie and B Bacon video if something didn't go slightly wrong. That one, yeah, the one you just pointed to, that one's the most tragic one of all. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let's go with these, which are the first batch, which has the like really runny stuff. So we think it was actually the heat of my hands that was making it really sticky, because these look a lot better. Here's how they're doing in the oven, and then you can't really see the bottom layer.
So B thinks that it's going to just fill the whole tray, but I think they're only going to touch in the middle.
So these are what the cookies look like when they've come out of the oven. They're slightly uneven in colour, but that's normal. And the ones that we had the first batch, which were really wet, are slightly flatter than the others, but the ones where we put more flour in have come out as really good cookies. And then these were the ones that we put in last on the smallest tray, so they've really blobbed out because they didn't have a lot of space.
So thank you everyone so much for watching us make some cookies. We'll see you next time. Bye!